Hello, everybody. My name is Kevin Ramos, New York Jets fan since 1982. Before I get into the New York Jets Seattle Seahawks game from last Sunday, I want to say my thoughts and prayers to the family and friends and also the teammates of Damar Hamlin, who apparently obviously collapsed and looked like he had a heart attack during last night's game between Buffalo and Cincinnati. I think they made the right call to stop the game and hopefully, Damar Hamlin will make a complete recovery. Sunday, the New York Jets still had a chance to make the playoffs in the AFC. And what did they do? They crash landed. They laid an egg, losing 23-6 to Seattle, who was trying to get into the playoffs in the NFC. And this loss, obviously, the offense was abysmal, offensive line offensive, defense didn't show up for especially the first half. It all falls under Robert Saleh because as a coach, is your team going into a game where you're still alive to get to the playoffs for the possibility of getting to the playoffs, and you fall flat on your face. This is the second game in a row that you've fallen on your face like that from the get-go. Again, the defense that I have ragged on and been upset with, opening drive of the game, Seattle goes in and makes it 7-0. So we'll start there. And missed tackling, C.J. Mosley, again, not playing up to snuff. He's played good in a lot of ways, but this second half of the season, C.J. Mosley he's not been that dude. You can tell on a lot of plays he's slow. He's lost a couple of steps. And I don't think that the Jets are going to move on from him next year, but I really think they should. I think they need to get some young blood in that middle linebacker and move on from C.J. Mosley. With that being said, the defense at the start of the season, they were creating turnovers. They weren't creating turnovers. Yes, they're getting sacks, but not enough interceptions, not enough forced turnovers. So that really has been the downfall of the defense, especially the tackling. They need to go back to the fundamentals of tackling in the offseason and get some more young bucks out there that can tackle and really want to tackle and really want to get in there in the trenches. The offense, Mike White was coming in. Obviously, had some broken ribs, and maybe it was because of those broken ribs. But quite frankly, he looked like Zach Wilson. There was not much of a difference. Even though there were some drop passes by Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis, and that's exactly who Mike White looked like. He looked like Zach Wilson, and I think he really cost himself an opportunity to maybe be with the Jets next year, and also probably cost himself maybe a $20, $25 million contract. What we learned from that game is that Mike White is not, in my opinion, is not the answer at quarterback. Obviously, I don't think Zach Wilson is, but I'll get to him in a second. The offensive line, I've told people time and time again, you win games in the trenches, and that offensive line, they need a total remake right there. They just need to tear that building down and start it from scratch. The offensive line, I was offended again by their performance. I think Dwayne Brown, I think he's probably going to retire. I think he should. Props to him for playing another year while injured. George Fant has got to go. I think in the first round, I think the Jets should take an offensive tackle. I'm not sold on Mekhi Becton coming back next year. Obviously, Elijah Vera-Tucker, losing him was big. Hopefully, he'll come back next year 100%. But they just need a total revamp. The running game, Ty Johnson had a couple of nice runs. I don't know why they didn't keep running the ball. Hopefully between Breece Hall and Bam Knight and Michael Carter and maybe Ty Johnson, the running game will get back going again next year. But again, you have a young team on the rise. They had some opportunities. Even Sauce Gardner, there was an interception that I think he should have gotten when the Seahawks were up 20-6. That could have changed the momentum of the game. The Seahawks missed a field goal when they were up 20-6, and the Jets just couldn't capitalize. Robert Saleh is talking about all gas, no brakes. This team this past Sunday had no gas, no brakes, no hydraulics, no ignition. Even Tom Cruise as Maverick, even if he had been piloting that jet, couldn't have gotten him to the G10s that he did in Top Gun Maverick. That's how bad this was. He couldn't even get them to G-Force 1. I mean, a paper airplane could have flown further than the Jets did this past Sunday against Seattle. Now you have to look at what's going to happen in the offseason. The Jets organization have said that they're going to keep Zach Wilson and try to develop him for another year. If that's the case, I think Mike LaFleur needs to go. I'm not saying that with Zach Wilson's skill set, he likes to roll out and things like that. I know you can't do that every play, but I think the skill set of Zach Wilson and the offensive scheme of Mike LaFleur, they kind of mix like oil and vinegar. So I think if you're going to keep Zach, you let go of Mike LaFleur. Now, I know a lot of people say because of the scheme, there was a lot of wide open passes, and I agree with that, but still, I don't think Zach's the guy to run that scheme unless you want to bring in a Jimmy Garoppolo, or a Derek Carr maybe. I would go with Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he can't stay healthy. I take my chances with him next year, maybe have Zach Wilson or Mike White as the backup. I think in the draft you need to get an offensive tackle, shore up that O-line, and get one of these SEC boys up in there, one of these Big Ten offensive tackles out there for that offensive line. And as far as defense, you're going to need a middle linebacker. In my opinion, C.J. Mosley is past his prime, and it's shown at a lot of points during the season. Now we're going into a meaningless game. A lot of Jets fans like myself, I don't want to see Miami in the playoffs. So in that sense, I will want Miami to win. Yet again, you got Jets fans that don't want to see the Patriots in the playoffs. So they want to see the Patriots lose to Buffalo and Miami come out on top against the Jets. Miami's lost 5 straight as well. I think the Jets need to go out there and go for that W at all costs. You don't want to end the season with 6 straight wins. 6 straight losses. That's not going to be good for Robert Saleh. I don't think that he's going to get fired this year. In the big picture, 7 wins. It's still more than the 2 seasons combined. Last season, 4-13. The year before he got here, 2 wins under Adam Gase. So in that sense, the Jets have made progress. However, next year, I think there needs to be a playoff mandate. And I think if the Jets really stumble out of the gates early, or if they don't make the playoffs next year, I think it's time for Robert Saleh to move on. He is a player's coach, but I think at times maybe he's too friendly, and I don't think he holds the players as accountable as maybe Sean Payton or maybe one of these old school coaches. Look at Brian Dable. The Giants were struggling earlier this year, but now the New York Giants are in the playoffs. Props to them. So again, another disappointing season. The Dolphins game obviously doesn't mean anything unless you want to ruin their chances for going in the playoffs. But I mean, for the Jets, they really, really let one slip away. I really think that the Lions loss really, really took their soul, unfortunately. So now they've got a whole new offseason to find their soul, and hopefully next year get into the playoffs. The Jets are going to miss the playoffs this year for the 12th year in a row, the longest drought in their history, and the current longest playoff drought in the NFL. It just is what it is. See you later. Bye-bye.